Hey guys, Forsaken Reality here. In this video I'll be showing you how to set up our wand locomotion and combat animations in a system. So we'll be setting up a locomotion system and a combat system in this video. So you'll want to create a third person template and import the wand animations. I'm using version 5.1 of Unreal Engine. And I also have a free asset pack that I'm going to be using here for particle effects, and I'll leave a link to that in the description so you can get to grab that as well. So without further ado, we will begin setting this up. So the first thing we're going to want to do is come into our demo folder, character, mannequin in our wand animations, meshes, SK mannequin. And in here, we want the wand socket and the hip wand socket, so we'll just copy those. And in characters, mannequin meshes, or wherever your character is specifically, we'll just paste these on here. And they should go to the correct bones. Find one of them. And yeah, there they are right there. And we can go to this other mannequin and browse to that. That'll be the one in the wand animations. And in here we can delete this and select our mannequin and replace references. That'll move all the animations over to our skeleton. And we'll want to open up our skeleton one more time and add one more socket to the Yep. So we'll add a socket and we will name that socket direction socket. And just save that. That's all we'll need to do there for that. And the first thing we'll look into is setting up our locomotion. So we'll want to into character, mannequins, and animation, APP mannequin, or manny. And we have this for our animation. And the first thing we'll quickly set up in here is our vertical spine rotation. So we'll be able to look up, down, just something simple that we can set up. So to do that, we'll want to get references, get our character, get your rotation, rotation, want to beam rotation, is locally. And from the rotate and here select rotator, one in this fold, connect that to that'll get our rotation. Here we want to split this out pitch value, which is down, All to a variable. Vertical spine rotation. Now we can drag out of this pin we added right here. Now we have our vertical rotation. We'll break it down per bone so that each bone isn't getting the full influence of the rotation. So to get our vertical spine rotation, create a multiply node, copy that and paste in 4 of those, Control C and Control V. Popping up on, and then going with that. So first one will be 0.1. And we are vertical spine rope. And we'll just connect this 0.25, 0.3, 0.35. You can adjust these values to your own and play with them to see what you like once we get everything set up. We'll drag out promote variable. We'll name this one vertical spine rope 2. Give here promote variable. Vertical neck 3. And this type, the rotation I'm setting up even more of like a head rotation, but you can use the values for any bones you want really. And you can play with those and see what fits you the best. And this one I'm going to make is vertical head rotation. I guess we don't need the 3 there, that was from when I was working on it myself. We'll just name that vertical spine rotation. And I'm just going to go to here and on success only, so now when I compile it'll also save if there's no errors. And I'll do that all throughout my blueprints. I'll need to do that once in here. So once I set up the spine rotation, head over to and right here, first thing I'm going to do is just break this, drag this down a bit, drag it up here and search for new save cached pose, and we will do this main states. And from here we want to move this. What we're going to, and we're going to go main states and use cached pose main states. And we want transform modify. Four times. Paste that. And the first one, actually I'm just going to delete these 3. It'll be faster if I just do this setup because it's going to be for the most part the same bone. I know patient existing base. Keep that component space. And we actually don't need why did but do that. We don't need the location, only need the rotation. Put spinal 1, line 3, paste it again. That's the 4 we'll need. We only want a value. So we'll get our vertical spine rotation. Connect that to our X value. Vertical spine rotation 2. Also connect that to X. Vertical neck. X. And I'm going to select all of that to a, and we'll want to go to our essential values. Cool. Not this one. Not cool. So we're not falling. Spine rotation. I'll leave that to you guys to clean up. It takes too much extra time to be cleaning up everything in a video. Vertical spine rotation. Allow us to connect all these. And first we pick component, local, save cache pose, spine rotation pose. And we can just quickly set up an upper and lower blend, I guess. Spine rotation pose. And we'll copy that and paste that. And layered blend per bone. And for this, we'll go into our array setup index, create 1 index, find 1, and mesh. This. We're going to look for slot default. We're going to change that to upper body, full bot, or yeah, upper body. It'll be a default setting. Now, whenever you set a montage to this, it will play on the top side of the spine, while the lower side will just play whatever locomotion animations are being triggered. Save pose, upper body blend. Here, upper body blend. That's the spine rotation set up. However, we can down. About it. Now we're going to start working on some of the blueprint stuff and some of the other locomotion stuff. So we'll go into our locomotion. First we'll just set the axle. Actually, before we set this up, we're just gonna create a few values here that are not gonna be set yet, but they're just gonna used for reference for after, so we can continue to set up our animation blueprint. So they will be the weapon equipped, and once we set up our combat side of things, these values will function the way they should. We'll be getting them from our combat component basically, but we don't have that yet, so we'll just create these two boolean values, weapon equipped and attack ready. And attack ready is for, say, if your arm is up when you're aiming and you release it, your arm will still stay up for a certain amount of time. So for now we'll just set those values like that, and we'll come back into our idle state and bring poses by bool. And we want AS wand second. Alright, so one thing we're going to want to do is come out, if you can't search for any of the wand animations, like you search wand and they don't show up like this, you'll want to come out, right click your content folder and just fix up redirectors. You can pause that for a moment, and once you finish that, come in here. And we'll get our wand idle pose. And we'll want our wand idle pose to true. And for this, we'll be checking if our weapon is equipped. If our weapon is equipped, we'll use our wand idle. And if it's not equipped, we'll go layered blend per bone. This will just be to get the hand open and close. So this will be hand R3 for our blend depth. Like this. And we'll just copy and paste this. So now equipped, holding our hand. And we'll also obviously be setting up a system to equip non-equipped it, which will toggle this value for us. And now we'll want and add state. This will be idle ready. Also drag back down. And for idle to idle ready, we'll just check if attack ready is true. And not ready for idle ready to idle, I mean. So for attack ready, not bool. Connect to that. We'll want to select this from idle ready to idle. Change this to 0.5. And this 0.2. And we can just copy this in our idle. Paste that. And we'll just want to wand, search for wand, play wand idle ready pose. already going into here, so we're attack ready and weapon is equipped. Then we'll do our wand ready pose, and if not, and from here, add another state, walk slash run ready, connect that. And regular should move and pick this true now to move true. And for moving back, it should move not cool, and connect that. That'll be our movement for model ready. Now we'll finally connect. And here, I'm gonna get attack. Not ready. I'm not cool. Cool. And we'll take this true for now. Connect that. And for moving, we'll just drag out attack ready, connect that. All we'll need there. And in our walk running layered blend for bone. Upper arm. And we'll get our wand auto ready pose. Bottom. I believe this is for the state. Yeah, blend space we're looking for. And for speed, we'll connect ground speed. And I always forget that the direction doesn't come default in the system. Put it from there. So we'll want to come into our event graph. I'm just going to drag all of this. I'm just going to add a pin. You guys can organize this however you want. Doesn't really character. Velocity. Actor rotation. This will how you set up your direction. Calculate direction. Rotation. And we'll just promote this to a variable and call this direction. I'm gonna connect this here, which you guys can move it up here in the graph closer to the ground speed. And now that we have direction, we like this. And in our walk run, we can delete this. Blend space movement. speed, connect the direction. See if the direction's working. I guess I can't test. I don't have any of the speed set up in our character blueprint yet. It's using the sprinting speed. But I can quickly test the direction by coming into third person blueprints and third person character. And it's going to character movement. Hold down to character movement rotation settings. Enable this. Go up here and search for yaw. Enable that. So we got something working. We still need to set up the speeds and some other values and stuff. Set it up so we can't sprint in certain directions and things like that. Now we'll scroll down to the 300, which will be our jog speed by default. And direction. We have our locomotion animations. And we can look up and down. Start our animation blueprint setup. I guess we have most of it pretty much all set up for this project. We set these values from our weapon system and also set up a few things for movement in our character blueprint. So before we set this up, we're going to want to go into our third person. We'll create a new folder called data. And I'm going to go to blueprints, enumeration, get an enum, e-unders. Movement speed state. And we're going to add 3. And those will be walk, jog, sprint, create a variable here in our character, movement speed state, and we'll just reference that to our movement state enum that we made. And once we do function will be called set movement speed by enum. Create an input and will be movement speed state. We'll drag it there and create a select node. Our character movement, our max walk speed is the value that's used for all ground movement. That max walk speed. Make that value. We'll just create a few values and adjust however you want. So there's 3 movement values, and we're also not going to want to set the zeros. And the 300. There are some movement speeds. And now we'll just print input, so we'll just use left shift for our sprint input. Press. Also create a Boolean sprint. Press. Change that value to a Boolean if it's not already. Set true, and we'll copy that, paste that on release, set it false. So we'll determine the button's pressed or not. And from here, we just want to set movement speed. If it's pressed, we'll set the sprint. And if it isn't pressed, we'll set it back to jog. And we have sprinting up. And if you want, here's a toggle to the walk movement speed. I'm going to quickly set up and set movement. Get movement speed state. We press this button. Walking will jog. Jogging will walk. Sprinting will never they'll mainly this jog. Jogging, hit control. There we have it. Walk does. Technically. Alright, so I forgot to actually update date. So we'll want to come into our set movement. Grab this, set whatever this value, whatever value we get. Set our movement. Things are properly. And you can toggle between sprint, for this right here, looking into my project, I got a little confused about what was actually going on here. This right here, we'll want to get our input axes, float, value, character movement, decide for just here we'll branch this input axis value is greater than 0. We are forward axis, so it, meaning when we're going forward it's 1 greater than 0. Equal to value rest and that'll be greater this, create a branch, B and click, put these in the top. And from if through and forward is pressed, and we copy that, and if forward press is not true and what print is, put ourselves back to jog. Drag this here, connect this in. Now if you ever you release forward, you'll start sprinting. You can sprint forward, left. But the second you let go of your forward button, you're not anywhere. You'll move jog. Forward. And that's everything for the movements. We will be here for now. Next thing we'll look at setting up our combat, start getting into that. Start by getting into setting up our aiming, our health. And the reason I'll be doing aiming first is because it influences some of our animations. Like when you aim, it'll bring the wand up into attack ready for a certain amount of time and things like that. I'll want to come into here. Third person blueprints. Just gonna create a new folder. Components. An actor component. BC unders. That'll be our combat component where we'll store all of our magic code. I think we'll actually stop this video right here though, because it's pretty long, and we got to a checkpoint. We got the locomotion done, and in the second part I can get through all the combat side of the animations. So if you like this video, feel free to join our Discord or leave a comment below if you have any questions or suggestions, and I'll see you all in the next one.